we come to you with prayerful hearts.
You say that at the beginning of every video and you think it's just as funny as the last time you said it.
I know, I just like saying it. Okay, we don't come to you with prayerful hearts. We come to you with barbaric hearts. That's the name of our new band.
So today we're going to be reviewing the movie Barbarian, which just came out this past weekend. You know, it was a welcome surprise to just like walk into the cinemas and just like see what we saw.
Yeah.
And when we really saw it, we saw it all.
We saw it in 4K.
I saw it with some Chipotle in my mouth because I was eating Chipotle.
Which you hid because we did see it at a cinema cafe.
And so I did sneak some Chipotle.
So you had to hide it. Cinema cafe, moving forward, if you want us to stop illegally bringing food into your theater, you're gonna have to sponsor us.
That's literally the only way.
So comment down below if you want us to stop bringing food into your theater.
Well, the Chipotle was really tasty as I was seeing people get their head smashed in and just like some horrible weird things.
Yeah.
Like an inbred woman giving milk to like an adult man and woman in a cage.
Yeah.
As one does.
I know that was like a really special experience for you because I'm pretty sure that's your dream.
I literally looked over to you in the theater, leaned in and said, this is literally your dream, isn't it? Because she talks about like milking all the time. It's really weird.
But not wanting to nurse on somebody.
Anyways, so the movie is about this girl who like goes to her Airbnb and she realizes it's been double booked and she's like, oh, that's kind of awkward. There's this like strange guy in the Airbnb. But turns out that guy like was normal. Like he was fine.
I feel like you're like going a little fast.
But like he was normal though.
So our heroine Tess Marshall pulls up in front of an Airbnb late at night. It's
we're not reciting the movie.
She's in a sketchy neighborhood.
This isn't how you do this.
Bangs on the door. She calls the person who rented it to her, but they're not there. So eventually a light does turn on in the house and a guy does open the window.
Like literally no one's gonna watch this.
Yeah, okay, but it's a little confusing for you to be like, she double books an Airbnb with a guy and it turns out he was normal.
It's not, no, it's literally just like, assuming they saw the movie, like they know what's up.
We need to find a healthy balance between what I'm doing and what you're doing.
No, you're like, she walks to the door in a huff. She sighs.
No,
Heavy breathing continues as she awaits the arrival of the man in the Airbnb. Hey there, she says. This is my Airbnb. What are you doing? He says, no,
what you're
I
saying
booked
is
this
accurate,
on.
though.
That's literally what you were doing though. Like very thorough.
No, I was just giving a replay where you were like, she rents an Airbnb with a guy. It turns out he's normal.
Hey, like we just need to be encouraging each other through this process.
Exactly. I'd love for you to start doing that. Okay, encouraging starting now.
So they end up staying in the night together in the Airbnb. They survive the night. It's fine. Even though this is a horror movie, they try to like hype certain things up and make certain jump scares happen. Everything goes well, and she kind of realizes that the Airbnb she's staying in is like a really sketchy place. And she's like chased down by this homeless guy, and she ends up locking herself in the basement. Long story short, there's like this huge like cavern in the basement.
Like these series of tunnels.
And it's really weird. And so she wants the guy she stayed with to check it out.
Because she finds some disturbing stuff down there. It's not just tunnels. Like she finds cages.
Yeah.
She finds a really creepy room with like a bed and a camera.
Yeah.
And then like a bucket that's covered in brown stuff.
Yeah.
And like a bloody handprint on the wall. So she's panicking. She's freaked out. It's obviously very nefarious.
Just want to say I'm really proud of how you described the following content.
Thank you.
I think you did really good with that. So
thank you.
I'm here to encourage you. And
I think your parents did their best when they raised you. I'm kidding. I think you're awesome.
I'm just here staring at your gum sitting on my desk that you took out before we started this video.
That's not true.
The gum is right there. I will be taking a photo of it and inserting it.
Everything he's saying
the gum is right there.
That's your gum.
No, it's your gum.
Yeah, it's your gum.
I don't chew gum.
I don't chew gum.
In every single one of our videos, you're chewing gum.
I've never chewed gum.
Anyway, so this guy goes down there and checks it out. All of a sudden, she hears him screaming her name. I was confused why she didn't like call the police at this point, because if I heard someone scream in like a dark cavern, I would have. But she did call the police earlier on the homeless guy who was trying to like bang on her door, and they said like, oh, we can't send any.
They obviously didn't care.
Yeah, we can't send any available units. So I guess she had that going through her head, like the police is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Which this movie gave the police like a really bad rap. Like,
yeah,
the police just kind of sucks throughout the whole movie. So she walks down, he comes running towards her, and then all of a sudden, this like, I don't really know how to describe it tastefully. There's just like this very scary nude woman. She like comes from behind in the dark, and she like takes the guy's head and like smashes it into the wall.
Over and over again until it's like a pulp. till he's dead.
And then we're in an entirely different storyline now. Like, we're on the road, we're in Cali, just like driving down the road,
in a drop
chilling.
top. A guy's just...
And then he gets a call, and apparently he's been, I guess, canceled because he's been accused of sexually assaulting like a cast member. He has to kind of like liquidate all his assets, and one of his assets is a home in Detroit.
A rental home,
Obviously, like, you can put together, like, this is the same home. Like, he's the owner of the house. Which I think was actually kind of cool, like, an interesting way to, like, break the tension and kind of... Because, like, I'm like, where are you going to go from here after this naked woman kills this guy, and our main character is there to, like, react to it. But no, we don't get to see what happens to our main character, which I think was cool.
It's not like the cookie-cutter horror movie plot structure, which was cool.
Even if it's not done amazingly, I always appreciate originality, and it went for it. And it was entirely original, so
it was like another level of mystery.
So this guy, he goes to check on his property, and he's like, he sees that someone's, like, still there.
There haven't been tenants for weeks, so nobody should be there.
And there's this whole thing where he's like grappling with the fact that he's been canceled.
And he does admit that he like coerced this woman into having sexual relations with him, and he's trying to justify it. But it's very obvious that he like did assault her.
So he ends up measuring the house for its square footage because he's trying to get the most bang for his buck. He's measuring the basement, and then he finds like the doorway into like the caverns, and he just keeps measuring, and he ignores the fact that there's all this creepy stuff around him, which I thought was really funny.
The cages, the room with the camera.
And he's just like, oh sweet, like more square footage. Like, this guy's clearly ignorant, and he's just not all there. He's just kind of a total idiot.
He comes across a room, and there's like a bunch of blankets and clothes spread out on the floor, and there's like an old box TV. It's like an instructional video that shows a woman nursing her baby, and it's like how to like nurse and calm your baby, basically.
He ends up falling into
an underground cage
where he meets the main character.
Tess.
She's been in there for a few weeks apparently, which is kind of horrifying to think about, but she's like a professional now. She's like, don't make this girl angry. Like, whatever you do, just play along with whatever she wants. So apparently she wants children, and so she's captured these people to make them act like they're her children, and she wants to like nurse them and like feed them. So she sticks her arm down with this gross looking bottle.
Baby bottle full of milk. There's like hairs on the end of it.
And Tess is just like, drink the bottle. And you're like, you have to drink the bottle. And he's like, no, that's gross. That's weird. What are you talking about? And then
the woman's obviously becoming like very agitated.
Yeah. So she like waves the bottle over to Tess, and Tess is like very compliant. She drinks from the bottle.
And she's like, she just wants you to act like you're her baby. But the guy's like panicking. He's like in shock. He's a grown man. She like picks him up out of this like 8-foot deep hole. So she's obviously very strong.
She's enhanced.
She takes him into the room with a monitor, and she like forces him to nurse basically, which is a very interesting scene. Never seen anything like it.
Who thought of this? Like, I can't tell if they're a genius or they're just highly disturbed.
Tess escapes from the hall. Oh, the hole.
And that's where she is able to get out of the basement, and she runs into the homeless guy from earlier, and he's like, no, I was trying to warn you, I was trying to help you. And she's like, okay, well, I have to get this other guy who's trapped with me out of the basement. Like, she's gonna kill him.
Cops, yeah.
Yeah. And so she goes to like a convenience store because she doesn't have her phone, calls the cops. The cops arrive, and they just don't believe her.
They obviously think that she's like mentally ill or like high.
Yeah. And so the cops leave.
She kind of realizes like, I'm on my own, like I have to get this guy out.
And
which props to her, because at that point I would have like,
I don't know, yeah, I feel like
I would have been speeding away at that point.
And then we get this flashback of this old guy living in the house like in the 50s, and he's kind of a total creep. He's been kidnapping women and like holding them hostage in his basement.
And abusing them.
For
years.
And then after this flashback, it's like close to nighttime now. This enhanced inbred woman can only go out when it's nighttime.
The creature woman flies out at her out of nowhere, so Tess runs out of the house and gets in her car and is trying to get away because this woman is chasing her.
Yeah.
And this woman like leaps onto her car, and then Tess basically backs the car into the house as hard as she can and like smashes the woman's body against the house.
Okay, so she goes back down to save him, and like he shoots her thinking that she's like someone else.
He gets a gun because in all the underground passages he finds the creepy old man who started all lying in bed. He's obviously very weak.
Third act is just them getting chased by the monster in the night, like in this wasteland.
Gross rundown neighborhood.
Yeah. They meet up with the homeless man who's turned out to be a great guy, just like a totally solid dude.
Yeah, for sure.
But he totally gets like ripped in half by the woman.
She rips off his arm and then she beats him to death with it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like slay.
So yeah.
Like I've never seen that before.
The guy is kind of going through this arc where he's realizing like, you know, he doesn't know if he's a bad person, and he just wants to make things right and do better and improve. And this is all stuff he's saying before the attack happens. But once the attack happens, he books it.
His morals go out the window.
His morals go out the window. He only cares about himself. Poor Tess, with a bullet wound that was his fault, is like running behind him saying like, wait for me, wait for me. He doesn't care about her. He's running up this like water tower.
The crazy woman is coming up the stairs. They have nowhere to go, basically.
And he grabs Tess. He's like, the only way I can get out of this is
if I distract her.
If I distract her. So he grabs Tess and he throws her off the water tower.
He just yeets her.
And okay, here's probably like the best part of the movie.
You have to bleep it out when I said yeet.
No. I was very invested in the movie throughout my entire experience in the theater. Like, I was very vocal. When I watch a horror movie, like, I don't have any filter.
You squeal, you giggle, you squelch.
I want to be in it entirely, and I will talk to the characters. I will have a full-on conversation with them while I'm in this theater with a bunch of people. Like, I don't care. And when this really strong naked woman jumps off of this water tower to save Tess,
to save her baby,
we have this like slow-mo shot of Tess falling, and we're like, oh no, our main character's gonna die at the hands of this horrible sexual assaulter guy who can't take responsibility for anything. But then this naked woman jumps off the tower
in slow-mo,
and then this slow-mo we hear baby. And I lost it. Everyone in the theater also lost it. But I lost it the most, I think. I was cackling.
I've seen a lot of movies with you, and that's like the most, that's the loudest you've ever been in a theater. And I'm sure it wasn't supposed to be funny.
I think everyone in the theater was laughing at the movie, but I don't really see it as like a discredit to the movie, you know?
Me neither.
I think they wanted it to be a bit campy, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I didn't see it as like I'm laughing at these bad filmmakers who just like don't know how to make a good horror movie. I was having a good time, and I don't really think it ruined the moment. It was just like they went there. Like,
yeah,
I didn't think that's what was gonna happen, but okay, I'm down for it. And so I cackled. I did. And she ends up saving Tess, which is nice.
So he sees that on the pavement, the woman has managed, like, she jumped after Tess and landed under her. So the guy goes over and he's freaking out, immediately starts gaslighting Tess, just like a man would. He's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I didn't push you. He's like, I didn't even let go of you. You just started sliding off the building. I'm so sorry, but you see what I did? Like, I saved you.
I didn't know, like, what they were trying to do with his character. I was like, oh, are they trying to give him a redemption arc? Are they trying to make him seem sympathetic, even though he did a horrible thing?
Yeah.
And then at that point, I was like, oh yeah, he's a lost cause.
Yeah.
He gets what he deserves at the end.
Yeah.
Because the old woman kind of, like, jumps up and crushes his head.
She jumps up, she puts her thumbs, her nails, squishes them into his eyes. His eyes like squelch and drip out of the holes.
Like rice pudding.
As our friend Peter said, we'll quote him, he said the eyes and blood looked very creamy, which I thought was a great way to see it. Like, yeah, they just looked really cool. The gun that they had earlier is like lying next to Tess on the pavement, picks it up and like presses it against the woman's forehead. And you can tell at this point she feels conflicted as well. She sees that like this woman is just a victim of like extreme depravity and cruelty, and that she's doing what she thinks is right. Tess just pulls the trigger and then like the end credits start.
It was a really mixed ending, honestly.
It was.
Because like you kind of come to this realization that this monster or the entire like antagonist of the story really just isn't an antagonist.
Yeah.
They're just a person that wants to like love a child that they don't have. It was just like a confusing and unexpected turn of events, but like
no, by the ending I wasn't confused. I was rooting for the woman fully. Like she had my support.
But like it was like there were twists and turns, and I kind of didn't know where it was leading to. Yeah. But then when I got there, I was like, this is actually kind of sad and sweet, and I just feel bad. And I'm like, if a movie can make me have an emotional reaction like that, a horror movie can make me feel like that sympathetic, then like you win at being a movie.
And I think like the movie also won in like being like very different than, or not very different, it was very unexpected based on what it was marketed as, but not in like a misleading way where I felt like I was like jilted or I wasn't given the experience I deserved. Like it was very unexpected in ways that I was like, oh, that's impressive. Like you kept your cards close to your chest and you gave me something different than what I was expecting.
Exactly. Like the trailer only gave away like the first act of the movie.
Yeah, and it led you to think like, it definitely gave off the vibe that something very different was gonna be the center of the story.
Honestly, I felt a little bonded with all the people that I just watched that with, like in the theater. I was like, we just like put ourselves through that together, and that was like
because some parts were really uncomfortable, like the forced nursing.
Yeah,
which is really hard to say for horror movies.
I know, because I always reach a point in the horror movie when they've kind of like laid out everything, laid out all the twists, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so we're here now, and I can just kind of like rest easy.
Yeah, or so many horror movies I've seen recently have like fallen short in the final act and like ruined it. Like they've set up a good momentum and they've intrigued me, and then it all falls apart in the last act and I'm like, you just ruined it. And I think this did the opposite.
This definitely had like a slow build, and right in the midpoint it kind of confused you with
it totally switches gears.
With the narrative change between Tess and this Hollywood guy. And then we get to the end and it kind of like just leads up to this huge climax where Tess has to kill this like she just wants to be a mother, this like monster who's just wants to be a mother. And I think that's so sad and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So good job this movie. Good job, Barbarian.
Do you even know who directed it?
No, I know nothing about this movie. I kind of forgot that I'd even seen the trailer when I was heading to the theater, so...
I guess I was kind of the one that, like, recommended it for us and, like, corralled us into going.
You get the credit, as always.
Thank you. That's all I want.
You basically directed this movie. You basically wrote it and directed it.
And, yeah, you're right.
Honestly, I feel like if you were to write and direct a horror movie, you would somehow incorporate nursing and, like, breast milk, just knowing you. What's our official rating for this movie?
Honestly, I really liked it. I would say, like, an 8.5 or a 9.
Yeah, I think I would give this one a 9, especially like having sat with it like a day later, just kind of like, I don't know, feeling really bad and sympathetic.
I'll say like 8.5.
If anyone wants to see some really, really weird series of events in a horror movie, just like not your average horror movie, go watch it. Go check it out. If you haven't already.
If you want like whiplash in like a really good way.
Exactly. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this review.
Find one person in your local community to nurse on. Like, as we've seen kind of through the movie and through the characters, like, nursing is special. Or comment down below, okay, if you double booked an Airbnb with a stranger and you had basically no other options, would you stay with them?
There you go.
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Would you sleep in your car? Would you drive into the night looking for another place to stay? Or would you just crash with them?
Audrey said that if we had double booked an Airbnb, like, individually, like, not together.
I was like, I'm not staying with you.
Yeah. Which was
You're
really
gonna have to find your own place.
Which was really great to hear. So.
I'm kidding.
So yeah.
We would have a blast and partied up.
Anyways, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. Please support us just
financially, emotionally, spiritually.
Just financially.
Agriculturally.
Kidding. Actually, you can support us if you just like subscribe and like the video, because like that's all we want from you.
Yeah.
And it's not that much. It's actually free for you to do. So it's 2 clicks. Yeah. You've done worse for other people.
You mean you've done more? And if this video gets 5 likes, Daniel will bleach his hair.
Oh, that'd be cool.
He'll get, wait, what's it called? No, he'll
highlights?
He'll get frosted tips.
Or I'll just get highlights.
No.
I don't know about frosted tips.
Frosted tips.
I feel like frosted tips looks better on shaggy hair anyways.
And I'll also get like a full back, he'll get a full back tattoo of Fergie.
Fergie?
Like seductively eating like a giant messy hamburger.
Oh, that's really intricate. Yeah. You thought about this.
I did.
Do you want to tattoo Fergie misleading hamburger? Is that why? Are you projecting on me?
I don't know.
I think someone's
I'm gonna have to sit with this for a while.
I think someone's projecting.
I'm gonna have to really process this for a while.
Okay, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Have a good one.